but the 90% gain of anything that we read or listen comes from applying it. And so for me, it was really different to not apply these success principles to a pursuit or a goal of building a business or of achieving something, but rather apply these principles to the healing journey. Like, what do I do when my body is so overwhelmed that it can't figure out how to process it? Do I get upset, or do I practice emotional stability? And so it was a really unique way to start my journey into building a lot of leadership and success mindset into me, but it was a gift because that's all I could do for 18 months.
Yeah, exactly. Wow. Okay. So after the 18 months, you emerged, let's say, better. What did you do next?
Yeah. So I think the cool part of my story is it wasn't just better, but 100% completely everything that was damaged, 100% restored.
Oh, great.
Yeah. So at that point, I had previously gained favor with the philanthropist I shared with you about Sejal. Mm-hmm. And so I knew that I wanted to move down permanently to Virginia to learn from her on a very close basis. I had gained access into her mentorship program and was in a one-on-one coaching relationship with her at the time of the injury. And I had started making the pivot out of dance mm-hmm. prior to getting injured. So for me, the only thing was to start what I finished and to move back down, because that journey of being able to create wealth and build wealth for yourself to position you as a philanthropist, that's not going to happen overnight. It's going to be a 5 to 10 year journey. And so I'm a finisher. Mm-hmm. And then there is no question in my mind, well, what do I want to do? I'm going to move back down to Virginia and finish what I started. Mm-hmm. Okay. So I moved down, got a corporate gig and do marketing and, take care of myself that way. And then I've been learning from her ever since.
Yeah. So on the corporate side, what was it about marketing that attracted you to go into that area?
Would you like an honest answer?
Yes, I would.
It was the highest paid gig I could get without a college degree.
Well, there you go. Okay.
I think something that I didn't realize as an artist was that we have an incredible skill set to market ourselves. That's how we survive as artists. We know how to turn contracts. We know how to network. We know how to secure gigs. And you're doing it all the time, because I had a new contract I had to work on every, 3 to 9 months. I had to go network and find a new contract. And so it was really natural to go into sales. And then the corporate sector really appreciated the art that I was able to bring in and the creative perspective. And that's what led into a marketing and more of a strategic marketing niche.
Gotcha. Good to know. Okay. So you've talked a bit about your journey and what your focus is on moving forward in the philanthropy section. So what is it particularly that the type of organization you've decided to build and create, and what has that journey been like for you?
Yeah. So something I've appreciated about Sejal is that she was willing to teach me the business. So I had zero business acumen, but she and her husband had taken the first 10 years of their life, so from 20 to 30, to build their wealth building e-commerce businesses. And so I've simply learned both X's and O's of mechanics of how to build e-commerce businesses and build them well as the mindset and the thought process of what it takes to build, to scale, and then to create a long-term profit and a sustainable income coming off of the stores. So it's nothing sexy. It's nothing like over the top. It's not cool products. Like, it's nothing monumental. It's very basic. It's in the consumption industry. You have consumable goods. And what has been so cool is, as COVID-19 has hit, the strategy to work in a very baseline industry, right? Consumption-based e-commerce stores. Guess what? That's exactly what everyone needs in both good times and bad times. It's recession-proof.
Yeah.
And so I didn't see COVID-19 coming, not at all, but Sejal and her husband had weathered a couple storms already. And so they knew they knew a lot more than I did. And I'm really glad I followed suit and just learned exactly what they did. I've followed suit, and all things are going really well, actually.
Yeah. Well, that's good. So when you say consumption e-commerce stores, could you tell me a little bit more about that? Like, what specifically are you looking in? What do you build to make sure that what you're doing is like different from like an Amazon?
Yeah, great question. Well, I think that you take a look at the market outside of Amazon, and that's everyone else, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they mostly are brick and mortar, or they're privately held and they don't actually have a storefront. All of these people want business online.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have 80 different contracts and 80 different partners that we support, and we help drive traffic from what normally goes in stores and moves it online.
Gotcha.
And so in that process, there's a bit of equity that gets freed up. And a lot of companies prior to COVID-19, they needed the help.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, our storefront traffic's amazing, but not online. And I think what's so interesting is our world right now has completely flip-flopped. Now everyone's online.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Yeah. And so the revenue has gone very, very, very well.
Okay.
Last couple months.
Good.
Yeah, but it's a black swan event, right? No one saw this coming.
Right, exactly. But it's great that the business you're in is surviving this. So what is the long-term goal with this? Because what's interesting is when I interview people about, let's say, companies that they have started, they are quick to talk about the name of it and the like the products they're selling, and you've gone a different way, which I think is very interesting, in that you've just kept it very general, which makes me think that beyond whatever it is you're building, that's not the long-term goal. So what is the long-term goal for you?
That is an excellent question, and you're absolutely right. The long-term goal is not, hey, I'm Kristen, I have an e-commerce business. Sejal and her husband have done very well at teaching me how to build and create sustainable revenue that'll be a pipeline for me, instead of just I guess you could call it client-based business, where it's all about getting more clients, and then you have to keep client management. And so when you start to set up and scale and build a business that has a very simple concept and you scale it large, then you have more, they would call it like a residual or passive form of income coming off of it, where you then just manage. And so for me, the goal has never been to label or brand myself inside of the e-commerce world as the e-commerce girl, but rather to brand myself as a philanthropist or a social entrepreneur, because that's why I'm in business. I've never desired to be super overly wealthy or have a bunch of money or have a corporate title. I've never been that person. Honestly, in high school, I was very content with the strategy of, okay, I'm going to dance for a while, and then I'll go overseas and work on third world countries and be over there and working hand in hand, impacting in the community. Not how the plan laid out. I realized a really important factor. To have impact, you need income. It's that simple. Yeah. And so this is plan B. This is figuring out, what does impact look like? And that is my brand, is impact. And so fun. My dad has a company as well, and they have this term that they're about ROIs, but it's not return on investment. It's ripples of influence. Mm. And so it's a very family-driven part to be able to come and to leave this world a better place than I found it. Mm-hmm. And, you know, working in nonprofits, working in a nonprofit that I loved and was passionate about, it was beautiful. I loved what I did, but there was not the income that was needed to be able to impact with. I remember very specifically waiting 3 months for $500 of funding to be able to launch a program, a dance program with these girls in juvie. Mm-hmm. That was one of the final straws. Here I am, like, there has to be a better way. There has to be a better solution than waiting on a donor. So I think when the door opened to learn from Sejal, it was this crossroads for me of, okay, do I learn how to get really good at fundraising? or do I learn how to build something that is passive in nature and residual in nature, that it's going to take 5 to 10 years out of directly impacting people.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be a sacrifice on the front end, but on the back end, I can go wherever I want, serve whoever I want, help whoever I need to. And I have both time and capital to do so, just like I see Sejal's life. You know, and so it's a very outside of the box path, but that is why.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So head down, just do the work, make it happen. And I think what's been fun is moving into a space of also being able to build a coaching program of my own and a mentorship program of my own, like I've watched Sejal do. Mm-hmm. That now that there's success on the tree as far as what I've done, Sejal's also helped me learn, okay, you know, another way to impact for my life has been not just helping the needy, but also coaching and working with leaders, emerging leaders, emerging entrepreneurs that have a huge vision, a vision of impact. That's probably the key, like number one thing I look for is I want to partner and work with and mentor and coach up someone that has a vision for impact, but has not found it through nonprofits or traditional means and is trying to figure out the social entrepreneurship journey. Mm-hmm. So that has been fun to start that this year. And we are working with 10 different people right now. One client is in France. And so that has been so much fun to work with Paris and work over in the European market. But yeah, we have 10 people we're coaching right now, and that has been a joy to start this year.
Yeah, great. So what does that coaching program look like? So I guess first let's start with how do people join your coaching program? And then what is the process like throughout the program?
Yeah, great question. So I have at this past year keeping it referral basis. Mm-hmm. I believe trust is huge, and that's the foundation of any partnership, relationship, mentor-mentee. And so it's been all referral based the last year, starting to actually build into the Facebook marketing world and build out a handful of different, they're called challenges, where it'll be almost like a taste and see of, okay, so what is being coached by Kristen? What does that look like, feel like, taste like for the 5 days of the challenge? And that is in the works. So keep a lookout for that coming soon. But I'm working with the gentleman's name is Pedro Adeo. He is the challenge guy, is what they call him. But he is the most effective person in the marketing community right now that understands how to use online challenges to convert your leads into new clients. But as far as what it looks like right now, this present moment, I take a good 3 to 4 weeks to interview someone. I'm very, very selective with who I'll work with. I understand the journey to build something, to build an e-commerce business up to a residual point. It takes a lot of grit. It takes a level of emotional resiliency. It takes someone that has very stable finances already, someone that has a very strong vision for why they would want to build something that is passive in nature, and someone that has the ability to finish what they start. And I can't tell that from an interview. I can't tell that from an online application. I can't tell that from just anything less than testing it. And so I test someone's character for those 4 weeks while also giving them a crash course of how do you build an e-commerce based business? What is our approach? Who are the partners we work with? How do the companies come together? What's the timeline? What's the work it's going to take? So for the person I'm interviewing, they get 4 weeks of education. For me, I get 4 weeks to test out someone's character. And at that point, then I'll decide if I want to partner with them and help them build and scale a business or not.
Interesting. Okay. So you've mentioned Grand Rapids a couple of times.
Yes.
So I'm very familiar with Grand Rapids. I grew up a little bit
home.
south of there. Yeah, and actually, I was like, what, 12
Wait, where
years?
did you grow up?
I grew up in South Bend, Indiana. So I spent a lot of time in my teens and 20s hanging out in mostly Kalamazoo, but then going further up in Grand Rapids and around there.
Oh my goodness. So
Particularly around,
Kalamazoo was